getting another staff member within that first year, I think, was critical to me being successful and not sputtering out.
Once you get good key personnel, like, you have to do whatever you can to keep them. I'm gonna hit you with some really hard, tough questions because I didn't give you any questions ahead of time, right? So no prep.
Going into this unprepared.
No prep for the hotshot attorney. Okay. Well, then I'm just gonna dive right in. What was the first concert you went to?
Janet Jackson Velvet Rope Tour.
Really?
It was.
Year?
Feel like 94 maybe?
Oh, okay. She was big time in that. Yes. That was a huge concert back then.
Big concert.
I bet. Okay, yeah. Very cool, very cool. What are the first 3 apps you use on your phone every day?
First 3 apps I use every day would be Instagram, TikTok,
Okay.
Zillow.
Zillow. Why Zillow?
I'm always checking the market. I'm very interested in real estate in general.
Okay.
I just like checking to see what comes up. I love looking at the luxury real estate.
Yeah. What's behind that?
I just like looking at the pictures, and sometimes it's fun to look at how the 1% lives, right?
That's right. For when we're there.
Just curious. You know, you see these homes from the water, or you see these homes you drive by and you always wonder what they look like inside.
Yeah.
But the other aspect of it is I just love seeing kind of what's out there. I love looking at other places like vacation homes, and just always kind of just,
I like it.
you know, having a goal, I guess.
Yeah,
So for instance, like I recently moved, I told you, and that was one of those, we didn't necessarily have a plan, but we found a house. It kind of ticked a lot of the boxes.
Yeah.
And I kept following it on Zillow.
Okay.
And it kept getting reduced.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And so that's kind of fun too, because it's kind of a bargain hunt sometimes.
Yeah,
absolutely. You're an investor.
Is this a revenue stream? Is that something you do on the side, or?
Yeah, we do have a rental.
Okay.
And
Very cool.
I do own some commercial property, and one of my goals in life is to continue to build up the commercial portfolio.
Love it.
Boat storage is another thing I've invested in town that I think is really smart because it's limited.
It is. In this town?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, big
and there's
time.
not much maintenance, right?
Yeah.
So
Zillow, I like that.
Yeah.
You know, when we recently moved as well, and when we were looking or shopping, I guess, we looked on Zillow a lot. And I remember looking at, you know, like $6 and $7 million homes. And you see the photos, and what was always so funny to me is like looking at it and being like, you know, I wouldn't have done that. You know?
I know. And or you look at it and go, wow.
Yeah.
That's what that looks like.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
for
You know,
sure.
you read about it. It's kind of like shopping. Yes.
It is.
You know, and I like to shop. So
Okay.
maybe there's some aspect of that too. Just
Got you.
seeing what's going on.
I got you. Okay. So Carly, tell me, what gave you the audacity to start your own business?
It's a great question. You know, at the time, the truth is I couldn't get a job.
Okay.
I could not get someone to hire me, being a young female attorney coming from the defense side,
Okay.
wanting to shift to the plaintiff side. And the majority of these firms that would hire someone like that did not want to hire me for whatever reason.
Okay.
I had gone through so many interviews. I had the last straw was I had traveled to an interview and they canceled it on me like an hour beforehand.
And you traveled there?
And I traveled there, and I just felt like, you know what? I've worked for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And if they can do it, I can do it.
Yes. If they can do it, I can do it.
And that's what pushed me. In essence, I said, the universe is telling me something, right?
What's interesting is so you're out of school, you're an attorney coming from the defense side.
You went to work for the insurance companies right out of school.
Okay. And I've heard that you say that, I think, in your content, like, I'm a recovering defense attorney or something like that, right?
And so is Stephanie, my partner.
Right. And so why do you think it is that you couldn't find, I mean, you've got this experience, you got your degree, like, why do you think it was that you couldn't find work?
You know, Sarasota at the time was a very small market, kind of interwoven, not really advertised. And so trying to even just find a job advertised was very difficult, right? And then the ones that were, there was a ton of applicants at that time. The market wasn't what it was, what it is. And can't put my finger on it other than there could have been some gender bias there, certainly. Because as a business owner, you might pick someone who isn't of childbearing age over someone who is. That is definitely an aspect to it, unfortunately, I think,
not right,
in the
but
law.
I can see it.
And the other aspect of it is I just think they didn't know a good thing when they saw it,
There it is.
right?
Yeah.
And maybe it was, like I said, for a reason. A lot of the jobs I had when I worked for big insurance companies at big firms, right? And I only worked for 2, but I had a lot of different shareholders that I worked for.
Okay.
And you learn a lot in a short amount of time if you're observant.
Okay.
And I noticed very quickly, being on the defense side, that there was a lot of plaintiffs, injured people, not being fairly represented.
Right. Of course.
Made my job very easy on the defense side. If the plaintiff's lawyer can't do their job, boy, it makes my life really easy to diminish that claim.
But the client is the one that suffered.
Right. And so over time, I had seen how these plaintiffs' lawyers and firms worked through the defense work with them, doing trial work on the defense side. And I just knew that there was a better product that could be delivered.
Nice.
And I figured that a competitive niche for me would be in my hometown.
Okay.
That was burgeoning at the time, 2016.
Right. That's here, right?
Right.
Right. Wow.
And so I thought to myself, this is it. My dad had passed away, and I just had felt a message in a way from him.
Okay. Like to bet on yourself.
This is it.
So 2016, you started the business.
Started the business.
You remember what month?
October.
Talk to me about November.
Okay. Scared.
Okay.
Invested basically everything I had, right? Moved into a small office, shared space in a way. Executive suite type thing, and had my first 3 clients. That was the rule of thumb, was as long as you have 3 clients, you can go out on your own.
Okay.
And at the time, right, how do you get 3 clients who've been injured in a car accident?
When you're just starting.
When you're just starting. Well, it just so happened that it's kind of like Noah's Ark. If you build it, they will come.
Okay.
And it just happened very quickly for me through word of mouth, through friends, family. And I got one case in particular. It was a really good case right away. And I knew it was a good case because of my work on the defense side.
You knew exactly what to look for.
I knew exactly, right? And so that is what got me started. I also was very strategic in my networking.
Okay, talk to me about that.
So, for instance, I didn't invest a bunch of money at first in advertising traditionally.
Okay.
So instead, I thought it would be better to target my time through investing in a local social club that was private.
Okay.
So that it was like a higher end BNI, if you will. So it was a little bit more exclusive.
Got it.
And I got to know the who's who of Sarasota through that, which got my name out there so much faster than slapping it on a billboard for 30 grand a month.
And much more, it's a warm lead.
And then I got relationships out of it too, which has since transcended into my business through, I'm on the board of Big Brothers Big Sisters through relationships I met there. And so I think, I was very strategic in the relationships I built, as far as I wanted them to be lasting and not superficial. And so, and I knew organic, right? Because I'm not the typical auto injury billboard attorney.
Okay.
We are more exclusive. We handle very high-end cases in a sense where if you want to be treated like family and meet your lawyer and not be treated like just a number, that's my firm.
Okay.
So there are a lot of other firms out there that treat clients in a voluminous way.
Of course.
And that doesn't cater to every client.
No,
and so
not
that's
at all.
Another reason I went on my own. I saw those cases being mishandled, the traumatic brain injury cases, the trucking cases. These people are critically injured.
Yeah.
And the last thing they need is an advocate who doesn't understand the mechanism of injury, the causation, right? The damage element.
I feel like, if I was in an accident, I would not want to be just a number. I wouldn't want to just be like, I'm trying to choose my words carefully, but like,
Right.
I know those firms, and I know just by default with their sheer size and volume, client has to become a number at some point. I'm an account. I would not want that because the accident would have been personal to me, right? I'm injured, especially the type of injuries you're talking about. I would want somebody that treated me like family.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So that's what we do. One of the reasons I keep myself exclusive with a tight knit group of employees, right? Because I don't want too many cooks in the kitchen,
Sure.
and we handle the cases ourselves.
Okay.
So you call us, we know who you are. We know what's going on. The cases then settle faster, in my opinion, for better money because
Sure.
they're not mishandled.
Right.
Less gaps, if you will, bruises.
Well, yeah, and I'd imagine, going back to like the number thing, like if this person over here is handling that and that person's handling that way over here, like there's got to be just by default something that slips through the cracks, right?
Definitely can be. And not to, you know, say that anyone's better, one way's better than the other. I just know one thing about our firm. We do a really good job every time because that is the standard on every case.
I love it. I love it. So, 2016, it's just you. Paralegals, anything like that? Like,
No paralegal at the time, couldn't afford it.
okay.
So I was licking my own envelopes,
That's
driving
right.
to the post office,
I love
doing
it.
it all.
I love it. How long were you in business before you hired your first person?
1 year.
A year.
I did it myself for a year, quickly realizing that I'm losing money by I'm a lawyer, right? I need to do the lawyer work.
Practice law.
Right. And at the time, I was burning the candle at both ends. And so getting burnt out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so luckily, I had someone in mind from when I was working on the defense side. And I had told her that when I can afford you, I'll call you.
Yeah.
And I did. And luckily,
Nice.
she decided to take the leap of faith with me. And she's been with me ever since.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
It was about 2 years for me before I hired my first. And same thing, like I'm good at this, I'm not good at that, or I should spend my time doing this or that or whatever. But when I started at Gento, I worked a night shift job, like midnight to 8 a.m., and then I would run the business. And so when I quit the night shift job, now I'm working like 12, 13-hour days. And it was just so natural to me because I had been doing it, for so long. And so I think that's why I didn't get to the burnout stage until probably two years because it was just life. This is just every day, whatever, no big deal. But I remember feeling like, hey, why am I spending time writing this content? I'm not a writer. I need to spend time doing this over here. And my first employee was a writer.
And I think everybody's got to put in that sweat equity. Every entrepreneur really should pour back any profits that they make anyway into the business.
Yeah, you're not making any money.
At least the first couple of years.
Yeah.
For me, getting another staff member within that first year, I think was critical to me being successful and not sputtering out because we were starting to gain momentum and there's only so much one person can do.
Yeah. There's only so much you can do, almost only so much
and
mental
I can't have anything fall through the cracks, right?
That's right.
And I didn't want my paralegal getting away either. So it was
paralegal,
it was a.
Once you get good key personnel, like you got to do whatever you can to keep them.
You do.
Yeah, absolutely. So
who works for who?
The leader works for the team member. That's how it should be. It's not always that way, right? But let's go there. Like, what's the leadership style like?
So I try to foster creativity, but I'm firm but fair.
Okay.
So I have a high standard.
Yeah.
Sometimes I joke I'm hard to work for, but if you can meet my standard, it is a great place to work because I pride myself on being a great leader who lets people do what they're best at.
Yes.
And let them go.
I'm gonna let you do
Pay them well.
Right.
Let them do what they're best at.
Yeah.
And
empower them.
And empower them. Right. Yeah. Have them be a part too of the business success. Right. So I love to foster connection. Right. I want us to be a team. We are a team of women. We're a strong team of women. It's all women.
Okay. Intentionally.
Okay. I'm the sorority of law firms, if you will.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
And it's not that we would never bring on a male, because of course we would. It's just that we are three women who have a very different talent base, if that combined make a really great
Yeah,
tripod.
of course.
And so Stephanie also came from the defense side. She spent 14 years there.
Okay.
And so
A lot of experience.
we're just very efficient, right? And my plan would be to grow to 4 to 6 attorneys max.
Okay.
I don't ever want to be a massive law firm like you mentioned.
Right.
I
Yeah,
want
we
to keep it exclusive. I want to keep it quality.
Yeah, and if you're specific about the types of cases you bring on, nobody's getting overloaded at that stage. You can grow big, but you can still have that
Well,
close
think
small.
of it this way. If you're focusing your attention, right, on a really big case, isn't that better than focusing your attention on a bunch of really
Like
small,
spreading.
not really
Right.
um, as viable of cases?
Yeah.
So there's an example of where I give everyone a free consult. I
Yeah.
don't turn anyone away, right? But I am somewhat selective,
Same.
depending on the case, because we need to help the folks who we can help the most, and
I like that.
also who our time, right, and energy is going to translate into success for not only the client, but for
But
us
for
as
us too,
well,
we're in business to make
right?
money. Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
And so you have to vet things,
Yeah.
clients, cases, especially now. Florida law changed 3 years ago,
Tort.
where the comparative negligence rules have changed, meaning if you're partially at fault for a car accident, there may be no recovery for you. So we just have to be much more careful now for the cases we take
Yeah.
and what we work, so that we're not wasting time, energy, and money on the clients.
Right, because in your field, like, you don't get paid unless they get
That's
paid.
right.
So why roll the dice on something that you're not? And you and what's her name? And Stephanie would know what is a really good case and what's not so great.
Typically, right? As long
Very
as we
smart.
have all the facts and the evidence, because there are cases where you initially get them and you think, oh, and it turns into a really good case. And so you always have to be mindful of what I call the gear shift, right? Because there are certain things in a case where initially on its face, you think, oh, maybe not so, not so, these pictures don't show me much, right?
Right.
But then under the surface, they pull that bumper off, right? And the whole thing under there is completely dented and showing a different story than what the surface shows. Then the cases can change depending on the mechanism, what they call the mechanism of injury, right? The forces involved.
Right.
And so you don't always see that. And that's the hard part about car accident cases. Everyone thinks, I want to see a car that's been flipped and demolished, right?
'Cause
But
that's a good
that's not
case.
always
Oh,
how it looks.
I guess it also goes to, I always hear you got to tell your attorney everything. I wonder, you know.
I can't protect you from what I don't know.
Right. Well said. Yeah. Yeah. So, like, if somebody doesn't tell you something, it may look like it's a great case,
That's right.
but not
And that
necessarily.
happens, unfortunately, right? As a defense lawyer, I can tell you that was what we loved,
Yeah.
right? Was finding that thing.
Yeah. Yeah. That one to, shred up the credibility or whatever. Wow. Okay. All right. Talked about growing. We talked about leadership style. Let's talk about some of the struggles, right? So at 2016, 17, 18, I always say even this year, like, I've had little failures that I've had to learn from, right? But, like, in the first few years, there's a ton of them. What's something that you didn't expect, you ran into, and you had to figure out on your own?
Not hiring a great accountant right away.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So I recommend to anyone starting a business, you have to budget for a good accountant and
Yeah.
do it right away. I did not do that my first year.
Same.
And it turned out being a good year overall, but I had to learn a very valuable lesson that it's not just about making money.
Yeah.
You have to keep the books, and hiring the wrong accountant can certainly cost you a tremendous amount.
Dearly. Yeah.
And you never want to get in trouble with the government.
No.
So, and you don't want to get underwater either, not being able to pay your taxes
Right.
as a business. So, I think that for me, it took me a lot of extra money to get the right accountant on board and to get everything cleared up so that my P&Ls were accurate.
Have clean books. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And that was one of the biggest mistakes I made early on, was not budgeting for that
Yeah.
and thinking that I could wing it the first year.
Yeah, same. I remember hearing that from a mentor and going, okay, I need to get an accountant. But your word there, the right accountant.
Right accountant.
That's the important piece.
Right.
I hired somebody, it was not a good decision, but you don't really know
You
what
don't.
you don't know. And looking back on it, it's kind of like, how didn't I know that? When you in hindsight, it's 2020 and all that. Like, gosh, if I would have budgeted and got the right accountant, how much of a difference it would have
And the
made.
advice they give, right?
Yeah.
Because some accountants are more conservative than others. And so you want someone who understands your business model,
Goals.
understands,
Yeah.
the advantages of certain write-offs that go to your business maybe versus others. Because if you have an accountant who's just running through the motions, they're actually not helping you
Yeah.
like they should be.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I want to go back to what you said earlier about when you're looking for work, female, all that. How do you think that that has impacted being a female business owner? Like, do you think that that has impacted the growth of your business, pro, con? Have you had struggles or things you've run into specifically being a female business owner?
I think it's been a pro. I've had a lot of support, um, even from the banks, right? Banks will give
Sure.
business female business owners
Yeah,
a loan because we qualify for certain things
that's
because
right.
we're a minority.
That's right.
And so I think it's been a positive 100%. And I appreciate the support from my community so much
Yeah.
because when I went out on my own, I didn't know if I was going to get that or not. So that has been a pleasant surprise.
How cool was it to learn? Same, right? Minority business owner. So, like, first 4 or 5 years in business, I did not know that banks want to help you and partner with you and be your friend and all that stuff. I just thought it was some place to keep the money,
Oh,
right? But how cool was it to learn that, hey, if you get a good banker and a good relationship too, they're here to help you.
right. And it's funny. I have a female banker, and
Okay.
she did, and it's been great. So I
Nice.
think that women in business must align,
Yeah.
must align,
Yeah.
because there is so much to lean on and learn, not only from one another, but just even as moms, right? Working moms.
Yeah.
Being a business owner and a mom is a unique animal,
2 full-time jobs.
right? And then some,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Add in wife and everything else,
Yeah.
friend, right? Um, so you can really lean on each other, because I do think that women sometimes have a problem after having children empowering themselves
Yeah.
back to
I
maybe
agree.
their potential or what they want.
Right.
And so, especially women business owners, we can lean on each other during times of need, because there's a general understanding
Yeah.
of the pressures, right?
Yeah.
That maybe others don't quite understand if they're not in a
They
storm.
can empathize, but they can't actually feel or relate. Yeah, for sure. Going back to business owner, wife, mom, do you believe in this work-life balance? What are your thoughts on that?
Gosh, if you ask me, it depends on the week, right? If I'm in trial, there is no work-life
There's no
balance.
balance. Yeah.
There is no balance whatsoever. So I would be a hypocrite if I said, yeah, it's all there all the time.
Yeah.
Um, I joke that they tell you can have it all, and that's a lie.
It's a lie. Yeah.
I think it boils down to being able to prioritize and not miss the big moments, whether that's work
Yeah.
or life. There
Yeah.
might be moments
Agreed.
in the interim that you don't want to miss that you do for whatever reason, whether it's work or life,
Mhm.
but it's not missing the big ones, right? And so for me, the work-life balance, thank God I have an amazing team. Without my team, I would not have much of a balance because my job requires
All
24/7,
of you. Yeah.
right? And so part of having a balance is a great team.
Yeah.
That's my
Agreed. And I feel similarly. Like we had a guest on here a year ago, Eric Conavalev. Shout out Eric Conavalev. And he's like, I don't believe in this work-life balance thing. I said, what do you mean?
Mhm.
He said, I think you go through seasons.
You do. I agree.
And that made so much sense to me because there are seasons where I'm working 60, 70-hour weeks.
And you have to.
And you have to. But then there are seasons where I need to be home more or spending time with the family more. And I'm doing less stuff at the business, but having a great team makes that possible, right? So, but it's just this up and down
And
season.
you have to know
after
when those
season.
seasons are. Identify that in your business, right? So that's one thing I identified, right? We have a settlement season, meaning that's when the insurance companies like to open up their pocketbook, right? And so we're busy.
Yeah.
And money doesn't sleep.
No,
So
yeah.
guess what? You got to know when that is, right? Don't plan vacations during that time,
No,
AKA, right?
But then on the reverse side,
Right.
hey, this is going to be a little bit slower.
Right.
Let's plan our stuff
Right.
for that. Yeah. Yeah, I like that very much.
That took me about 5 years. I didn't take a vacation for about 5 years.
Same. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, same. And like I said, I was just so used to working, 12, 14, 15-hour days. I just assumed that it was
Well, for
life.
me too, if you're not working, you're marketing, right? So that's why I talked about, I would, either go out, and meet people,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
To charity events, galas.
Make connections.
I mean, right.
I didn't subscribe to this belief.
Mm.
So 2021, we had the Laker Ranch Alliance had an expo across the street. It was literally our backyard. And it was the Laker Ranch Alliance and the Longboat Key Alliance. We weren't members of any chambers or none of those things. I didn't believe in networking, none of that stuff. I said, oh, the leads will come from Google, like whatever, But it's in our backyard. And so I got a booth and I had to join. I had to get a membership on a whim, like, whatever. It's more of a chess piece, a move on the board because there's probably going to be a competitor in there. There wasn't. We were the only agency in there at the time. But I had to buy a year's worth of membership. And so after that, the staff there were like, why don't you come out and do this and do that? And I am like, I'm probably one of the more busy networkers, we're Manatee Chamber, Sarasota Chamber, Business Alliance, GCBX, I'm coming for you. It's so important to build like connections and relationships in your town.
It is.
Oh my gosh.
And especially in our businesses, both of our businesses, the more people you know, the more potential business there could be. It's literally just people.
Yeah. And I feel like
So,
if they know you, like if you build a real relationship, organic, right? They take you with them to the places you're not privied, right? They go to conference rooms and offices and warehouses and meetings here and they could take me with them. What?
well, and if you want to level up, you need to surround yourself with people who are where you want to be,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where do you
Yeah,
find those
100%.
people?
Yep.
Right. And so part of that is just getting to know people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Truly know them.
yes.
Yeah.
And hopefully generating meaningful connections through those meetings that translate later. And whether it does or not, right, it's the goodwill. And I believe
Right.
wholeheartedly in if you build goodwill,
Mm-hmm.
you do a good job,
Yes.
you'll be successful.
100%. Yeah. If you give value to people, whether they do business with you or not, right? Not expecting, like give without expecting. Yeah. You're going to be successful. 100%. Two last questions. What was this question? What are two people I should know, and what are two things that you're reading?
Oh my goodness. Two people that you should know
Two people I should know.
that are alive, you're saying?
He didn't designate, but yeah, let's go with that.
Okay, two people that you should know. Well, I am not. That is an interesting question.
All right, two books.
And two books that I'm reading. Number one would be Moms on Call, because I have a baby, and so I'm constantly trying to keep up with his milestones.
Mom on Call,
and so Moms on Call. And the second one would be Don't Eat the Bruises by Keith Mitnick.
I don't know that one.
Which is a book related to what I do for a living, and it's about persuasion. And essentially, if you get a case, say it's, and we'll equate that to a peach, and maybe that peach has a couple bruises on it. How do you still get the full justice, maximum value for your client despite those pre-existing bruises, if
Oh, I
you will? So
see.
don't eat the bruises is the point, because there's a way to change your thinking to be a more persuasive advocate instead of buying into, well, that was just like that before.
Right. That's a
So
creative
don't eat the
title.
bruises.
That's a really creative title. I like that. Okay. Thank you very much for that. Now,
Oh, two people. Okay,
two
back
people,
to
yeah.
two people
Two
that you
people.
should know. Listen, I don't know, because again, I'm in a season of life right now where I'm, kind of in my mom and lawyer era,
Sure, sure.
right? But I would say that right now, probably it's pretty important to know Judge Carroll, who's our Chief Justice.
Okay. Judge
Okay,
Carroll.
of our circuit court.
Okay.
Shout out to Judge Carroll. And I would say get to know your local congressman in your
Oh,
district, which I don't know what your district is, but I think that's really important
yeah.
these days, because we have so much going on. And it is important, being in business, to
Yeah.
know what's changing
Coming down the
around you and what's
pipeline.
coming down the pipeline.
Who we have? Buchanan here or Stubbe?
I think it depends on where you live.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell you,
Yeah, yeah,
but I
yeah.
do think it's important to meet,
know who they are.
or at least know what is going on in your community, in your area, your agenda,
Yeah.
what is being voted on. Maybe your local commissioners, then, if you're in the city, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's not two people, but I
No,
couldn't pick two commissioners, but
that's really important.
I
Yeah.
think it is important.
Shout out Tal Sadiq.
Yeah.
That's a great answer. So that question came from Akash Patel. You've met Akash, and that's one of the things how we're ending interviews now is we're asking a question from a previous guest. So that was his question for you. He didn't know it was going to be you, and now I'm going to ask you. You don't know who our next guest is, but if you could be in this chair and ask an entrepreneur one question, what would it be?
What song describes you?
Ooh, that's a good one. You guys help me remember? What song describes you? I'll let you know what they say. Carly, thanks so much for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
Okay,